Sporting Journal Radio, presented by Onyx.
All right, this is Sporting Journal Radio. Thanks for tuning in on the network by demand at sportingjournalradio.com. Maybe you downloaded the podcast wherever you get your favorite podcasts, or you're watching this on YouTube. Thank you very much. I'm Brett Amundsen. That's Dan Amundsen over there. And there's a little bit of ice on some of the smaller bodies of water early in the morning. A couple of those mornings here this week. There's a little bit of ice breaking when you were out there duck hunting the other day, Dan. So I'm surprised somebody didn't go out there with an auger and some electronics, and just so they can say they were the first ones out on the
crossed my mind. I'm not gonna lie.
Out on the ice. Obviously, not enough ice out there. Not definitely not safe ice, of course. And Erik Osberg is going to join us now from Otter Tail Lakes Country. Erik, it's time to start thinking about ice fishing a little bit, isn't it?
It is, and I would given a choice, I would rather open water fish.
Yeah,
any day of the week and twice on Sunday. Mm-hmm. But yes, eventually the globe will turn enough that the sun will be too cold and we will have ice. And then the first, and then we'll go ice fishing. So yeah, it's right around the corner.
Yeah, we got some time, obviously. But what do you do this time of year? Like, I'm notorious for having not getting my gear ready for ice fishing until the day we're going ice fishing.
That's a good question. Okay. Number one, wherever your ice rods are right now, try to think of where your ice rods are.
I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, step one is find your ice rod. And what I do, like usually in the spring, I'm in such a hurry to go open water fishing that I don't really tuck my gear away like I should. But what I've been doing the last few years is I locate my ice fishing rods, and at the very least I pull all the line off. Okay. It's kind of hard to dedicate yourself to say, okay, I'm going to replace all the line. Well, if you go pull all the line off, you'll be forced to put new line. You know what I mean? Like when it is time to go ice fishing, you'll be like, oh shoot, I got to respool. So that's, that's one thing that I've been doing the last few years is I just pull the line off. And then when I go out fishing, I know I have to put. Now, obviously, if you're using, walleye gear and you've got some braid and you're just using fluorocarbon leaders or whatever, you don't need to replace that every single year.
Yeah.
But all your mono or your fluoro or all that stuff.
I'm also notorious for taking my rods out the day we go ice fishing for the first time, and I open the bail and drop it out, and all the line just kind of comes out, tangled. I'm like, oh yeah, I got to replace this line at some point this year.
Pull it off now. Go today or tomorrow or this week or whatever. Pull it off now, and then you'll be forced to put that new line on there. The other thing is just, I'm not there yet personally, but just tackle management, right? Like a lot of the tackle I use in my boat, I'm going to use in open water. And just organizing your tackle, and it doesn't need to be, the world's fanciest tackle boxes. You go to any grocery store and get lock lid boxes, whatever. It could be Ziploc boxes, it could be Ziploc bags. But just start to get your gear in order, get organized, and know where your gear is. Your electronics, if you can, plug in your electronics, give them a good charge now, and then in a couple 2-3 weeks, plug them in again.
What are you doing for your electronics batteries these days, Erik? Have you switched over to lithium?
I'm mostly lithium. I haven't replaced all my units and created exclusive lithium, but I predominantly run Markham units, and so I have mostly lithium. I think all my Markham units are lithium batteries, but yeah, and those are just awesome. They're light and they last forever. So that's another thing, is just make sure your batteries are in good working order.
I might have a Markham shuttle for sale soon, so if I decide to sell it, I'll let you know if you don't have one yet.
You might?
Kind of slick. I might. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm switching to Garmin. So I bought a shuttle last year.
Are you going live? Are you going live scope?
I am.
Are you? Yeah, that's my LX7. Love that unit. Lasts forever. Now I'm not looking forward to ice fishing, but thanks, Dan, for finding that picture. And yeah, that's a if you go back to that picture for a second, Dan. So that's a homemade rod holder that I made. It's basically a piece of PVC pipe just cut at an angle and then mounted on a 2x4 or a 2x6 or whatever it is.
Perfect.
And I just and you know, I use JT rods, and so you know that's not what I would put a snare rod necessarily in. But the idea behind it is if a fish hits that and pulls down, the rod holder should absorb that, right? Like you should. I've lost a couple rod holders down the hole. Not last year. I don't remember what kind of rod holder it was, but it was just, you know, a little aluminum thing or metal thing, and bloop, it went down the hole. So I've been experimenting with the other trick. Here's the other trick, and I don't want to focus just on this picture, but that milk crate right there. Do you see the milk crate that the flasher is sitting on?
Yeah.
The catch hole or the catch cover hole covers fit perfectly inside of
the milk crate. Oh, sure.
And so I use milk crates to haul all my gear. What's that?
Yeah, I've got one of those.
I use milk crates to haul most of my gear. And then when you get there, then you know you empty your gear out, or you could even leave your gear in there and you just put the hole cover on top. I mean, obviously you could just put the milk crate upside down, but then all your stuff would fall out, right? So that's a neat little discovery, happy little accident that I had. And I like to get my flashers off of the ground.
Yeah.
Just because it helps, you know, I don't like to be bent over looking at the floor all day long. I like to try to, you know, just saves on your neck a little bit. But, you know, in a pinch, I'll stare at the floor all day long, I guess.
I always set mine up high on something, whether on a bucket or I've got a milk crate like that too that I haul my stuff out with. I've never seen it with the catch cover lid on top of it like that though. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, and then again, if you have a bunch of stuff in the crate, right? Like
you don't have to dump it out.
Propane tanks or lures or tackle boxes or whatever, you just do that and then put the lid on top and it works. So
that's a great idea.
Yeah, I like it. The other thing. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Eric.
I was going to say the other thing. I love Coleman lanterns. I love old school Coleman lanterns. If you'd be surprised. They provide obviously a ton of light, but they can provide heat too. Mm-hmm. And I can remember one trip last year. It was early ice, and I walked a long stinking ways into the, you know, it was windy, it was cold, it was early ice, and I happened to have my Coleman lantern, and all my batteries died, my headlamp died, my flashlight died, and I was able to fire that thing up, and you know they're made to operate in the wind, right? Like they're not wind proof, but they're wind resistant. And that. I don't want to say the Coleman lantern saved my life, but there's something about that hiss of a Coleman lantern that gets me going anyways. So
absolutely. Well, I didn't expect to give away so many ice fishing tips here in the middle of October, but this is great. Sorry. I'm going to go find my ice fishing rods now. You're actually helping me out.
Just go find them and pull the line off. And
you're not going to do that.
We'll see.
Here's the last piece of advice I'll give. Otter Tail County is open for business in winter. We've got a lot of resorts that cater to ice anglers. If you're into walleyes and you can get on Otter Tail Lake, Vacation Land Resort and Barkey's Resort are a couple that come to mind. Barkey's Resort has a heated fish cleaning shack.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, so when you come off the lake and you're ready to clean your walleyes, you get to walk into a heated fish cleaning shack. Vacation Land Resort, which is also on Otter Tail Lake. Trevor, if he can, he has some fish houses that he can rent and stuff like that. And he doesn't try to build a whole big road system. But if I was coming up ice fishing in Otter Tail County and I wanted to catch walleyes, there you go, Vacation Land Resort, absolutely. If I wanted to come up ice fishing in Otter Tail County and catch walleyes, I would call Barkey's or I would call Vacation Land Resort. Holly's Resort is also on Otter Tail Lake. And then there's other resorts like East Silent Lake Resort is open all year round. Shady Grove Resort, which is on Rush Lake, they're open all year round. Shady Grove also has a heated fish cleaning shack. And so just because it's summer, there's Shady Grove right there. They've done a really fine job, upgrading that facility over the last few years. So if you're looking for an ice fishing adventure, we've got 1,048 lakes, and we've got a bunch of resorts that are more than happy to accommodate you. And if you're not into the resort thing, places like you stayed at Pelican Motel, Lakes Inn at Dunvilla, Battle Lake Inn. There's a bunch of hotel, motel, like Grand Stay in Parker's Prairie. There's a bunch of places you can stay. Some of them have a pool. Some of them don't.
Might be a little cool for the pool, maybe.
Yeah.
But hey, speaking of Pelican Motel, my brother watched the show when we were talking about the towel I used to clean off Tiny up there, and he goes, "Hey, I'll bring some." He works for Ecolab, so he's like, "I'll get that towel clean for him." So we'll help
I'll be
him
sure
out.
to let him know.
Perfect. Well, winter will be here before you know it. Ice fishing is just around the corner. Erik Osberg, thanks for the tips today, and thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Hear more at sportingjournalradio.com or wherever you get podcasts.
Looking for winter adventure? Might as well pick a place with over 1,000 lakes. Otter Tail County, Minnesota is in the middle of everywhere, offers a simpler pace, and has something for everyone. Find your inner otter at ottertaillakescountry.com.